Welcome back. Part 10, Chapter 4, Losing the Boomer Blues. May 2017. Mary visits Joanie. It was a beautiful day in May. Mary put her sunglasses on and drove to Santa Cruz. She was looking forward to spending the day with her old friend Joanie, who was busy coordinating their 50th year high school class reunion. She wanted to touch base with her about classmates she was unable to reach, and the few who were still in contact with her but had no desire to attend. She wanted Joanie to reach out to them. Mary felt Joanie may be able to bring them on board. She had a knack for persuading others into doing things outside their comfort zone. Joanie knew how to appeal to their ego, and if that didn't work, she could use some other means of persuasion. When Mary arrived, she noticed a tall, thin, gray-haired man painting Joanie's picket fence. She walked past him, but neither said a word. He stared at her as she rang the doorbell. While she waited nervously for Joanie to come to the door, she became uncomfortable as she felt his eyes on her. Mary wondered if her sunglasses were attracting his attention. Embarrassed, she quickly took them off and put them in her pocket. Turning to the stranger, she asked, "How's your day going?" He jokingly answered, "Not bad, considering my apple stock took a nosedive. I'm painting fences to recover my losses." Mary thought she recognized his playful smile. Could it be Joe, Joanie's brother? If it was, he had aged some, although the wrinkles around his eyes and mouth lent him character. She returned the smile shyly, thinking she too displayed those same laugh lines. Just then Joanie opened the door and invited her in. The two friends hugged each other. Enthused, Joanie remarked, "You look wonderful, Mary. I'm so happy to see you. It's been almost 5 years now. Come in, please. Have a seat here in the living room." Joanie was slim with short auburn hair. There was a light splattering of freckles across her nose, spilling out onto her cheeks. Although her face had matured, her youthful presence was ever present. The years had been kind to her. "Who's that guy painting your fence? Is he your brother Joe?" "Yep, it's Joe. You remember him." "Oh my God, how could I ever forget Joe? He was a year ahead of us in school. He had the biggest crush on you in high school. When he heard that you and George were engaged, he set his sights on someone else. He fell in love with Patty Davenport. Remember her?" "Sure. She was a dancer. Her mother owned a ballet school in the Richmond, near the library. I always wanted to take lessons, but never got the chance." "Yes, that was Patty. They dated throughout college and married right after they graduated from San Francisco State. They had a happy marriage, but weren't blessed with children. Patty passed away after a short battle with cancer in 1997. She was 46. Joe never remarried. Although he had a few relationships over the years, none of them worked out." Mary softly whispered, "Oh, poor Patty." And raising her voice, she continued, "Joe must have been devastated. I know firsthand how hard it is to cope after the death of a spouse. George was my whole world." Joanie took Mary's hand and led her to the sunroom. "We're going to have lunch in here and catch up on everything. It's such a bright, sunny day." Mary noticed Joe and Barry out on the deck barbecuing hamburger patties. Obviously, Joe had decided to put the fence painting on hold in favor of preparing lunch. Joanie asked, "Do you still like Mills burgers and potato salad?" Mary was stunned that Joanie remembered. A juicy hamburger and potato salad, along with an A&W root beer, had been her favorite meal at Mel's Diner back in the 60s. "I haven't become a vegan yet," replied Mary. "I still love potato salad and root beer, too. although sometimes a cold beer tends to hit the spot on a hot day. Joanie replied, "Don't worry. We have both A&W root beer and Budweiser." They both laughed as they saw Joe and Barry drinking beer and flipping burgers out on the deck. Joanie asked, "Ready to join them, Mary?" "As ready as I'll ever be." They walked out onto the deck, and with a little encouragement from Joanie, Mary walked up to Joe and asked, "Are you as good a cook as you are a painter?" "Yep, darn good one." "How do you want your burger cooked, Mary?" Mary pushed back her long gray hair, smiled up at Joe, and replied, "I love it a little pink in the middle, the way Mills used to cook them back in the day. So I noticed you're doing a really good job on Joanie's fence. My backyard fence could use some help. I'll hire you to paint it, that is if you can find the time and don't mind the long drive into the city." "No problem, but we'd have to visit Mel's afterwards for burgers, so you can compare their cooking to mine. Deal?" "Deal." Mary found Joe rather charming. Joanie could see that they were getting along quite well with each other. It didn't take long before they were engaged in an enjoyable conversation. Her matchmaking attempts seemed to be succeeding, so she and Barry quietly retreated to the sunroom, leaving the two alone to continue their conversation in private. Catching Mary up on his life, Joe told her that since he had retired from the Painters Union, he invented projects to keep him busy during the day. Painting a fence was fun, but he loved taking long drives along Highway 1. He asked Mary if she'd like to drive up the coast to Mendocino with him on Monday. "Well, I'd love to take a trip with you up to Mendocino, Joe, but I need to warn you, I might become melancholy because George and I were married in Mendocino, and our reception was at Stinson Beach Community Center." I realized that was a long time ago, but I still miss him and all the memories we shared. We celebrated several wedding anniversaries in Mendocino, and during the summer we spent nearly every holiday on the road to Stinson Beach to enjoy a picnic and a walk along the shoreline. Those days were happy ones, so it might be hard for me to return there without him. Recently, I started wearing some vintage sunglasses I found, and surprisingly, I find myself more accepting of my past. So maybe a trip to Mendocino would have a healing effect upon me with my sunglasses on. Joe raised his eyebrows and, looking confused, asked, Your vintage sunglasses?" Mary smiled as she pulled them out of her pocket and said, "They're magical shades. They transport me back in time and give me a clearer view of life without any hurt or pain. You know what? Now that I think about it, I would love going on a trip to Mendocino with you. It just might be what the doctor ordered, a fun trip to a place so important to me with an old friend." "I might just have to borrow those shades from you, Mary. I love going back in time, too. That's why I drive along the coast every chance I get. My wife loved the ocean. We spent a lot of time in Mendocino together as well. I released Patty's ashes along the shoreline at Stinson Beach. I enjoy my memories of the past. It took me a long time to come to that conclusion, but I found that life is for the living. Memories keep our loved ones with us in spirit. Life does go on. You're on your way too, Mary. We have a lot in common. You just have to share those shades with me. I'm super curious about their magic." Mary tucked her sunglasses back into her pocket and responded, "Sure thing, Joe. We'll continue on tomorrow as we delve deeper and deeper and deeper into this story, Losing the Boomer Blues." Thanks for visiting. Ciao.